Hello, my name is Paula Mora and this is my video for the Resources and ICT exam. It is fundamental that educators develop a holistic teaching competence in the digital world. From my point of view, the three main elements which constitute this competence are: firstly, expert in digital educational contents. This element can be defined through the technological pedagogical content knowledge. This is the TPAC framework. According to Mishra and Coeller in 2006, it can be defined as the knowledge that an effective teacher has about the proper integration of available technology in the classroom to foster students' competencies related mainly to content. We're talking about an essential element within this competence because it can be seen as the main core of the teaching competence in the digital world as a content expert. Therefore, the two actions that we can promote in order to develop this element in the daily life of the teacher are: on the one hand, the use of Kahoot could be considered. To do so, the educator would have to elaborate a questionnaire which would be responded by students in class. Concretely, this task would take place in the computer lab, where students would work individually, according to the social design. Finally, the educator would analyze the mark of each pupil. On the other hand, in order to help the students in the development of their oral skills, we would ask them to record a video in their houses, talking about an important topic of the trimester. In this occasion, mobile phones or tablets would be necessary, and the students would work again individually. The videos would be presented in class, and the teacher would give the necessary feedback. The two elements that I would include in my PLE to keep learning about this element of DTC are specialized newsletters as reading tools and conferences, which can be seen as activities for accessing to new, useful information. Secondly, expanded reflective practical is another relevant element within the digital teaching competence. It consists on the ability of the educational professional to make deep, useful reflections in and on action in order to obtain a specific form of educational research and, therefore, develop a practical knowledge that allows the improvement of the teaching practice through technology. This element is also essential since, as Plump and Even claimed in 2013, the objective is to achieve systematic processes for developing educational interventions as solutions to complex issues, actively collaborating with other teachers. Two actions which can help educators to develop this element of DTC in the day-to-day are: on the one hand, reading educational digital journals such as Tecnología, Ciencia y Educación, since it is necessary that the educator keeps gathering information which can be useful for the improvement of his or her technological practices and which allows the proper reflections about the multiple possibilities of educational action and research with ICT. Secondly, elaborating a blog where each week the teacher would have to write a critical reflection about the behavior of the students, the contents. This blog would also be open for other educators. It would be necessary a platform for creating blogs, such as WordPress, and different electronic devices, computers, phones. Two elements I would include in my PLE to keep learning about expanded reflective practical are critical thinking as a cognitive mechanism essential for reflecting, and mind maps as activities that allow the organization and structuring of the reflected ideas. In the third place, I have selected the element of DTC called able to use technology in order to expand the relationships with the students, families, and environments. This dimension refers to teachers' connections with the students as social beings through the unification of their most influential environments, which are the school, community, and family. We are talking about another relevant element since technology has increased the possibilities of communication and coordination between these three basic social spheres of influence. Therefore, the two actions that we can propose so teachers can develop this element in the day-to-day are: on the one hand, to make use of educational digital platforms that enhance the communication between educators and students' families, such as ClassDojo or Toka. This action would be bidirectional as well as continuous. Finally, to foster the interconnections among students and their own communities, children could go once a week to a computer lab and search on the internet in groups of 5 people approximately digital journal articles about events that happened that same week in their town. At last but not least, the two elements that I would include in my personal learning environment to continue my learning process about this element are social software, tools, and forums. In addition, from my perspective, the four most important concepts we have explored during this course are ACAD and PLE and the infographic and the stop motion. On the one hand, the activity-centered analysis and design framework, also known as ACAD, created by Carvalho and Goodyear, defends the analysis and design of complex learning environments. The three dimensions that can be modified with design are set, epistemic, and social design. Set design refers to the arrangement of the physical or virtual learning environment and the tools, artifacts we utilize for learning. Learning is epistemically situated too. Epistemic design implies proposing beneficial tasks for pupils. Social design is the way we propose how individuals work together, alone, through dyads, groups, teams. Emergent activity is what happens during learning when tools, tasks, and people come together in support of learning. Learning outcomes are tied to emergent activities. We can contextualize this ACAD framework with a speed learning activity which we carried out. The task consisted on the creation of an information map on a poster which explained the main characteristics of TPAC and ACAD. Regarding the social design, the two stars of each group presented the poster in 8 minutes, 6 times, while the other groups listened and gave feedback. Now that we have explained the task, we have outlined the epistemic design. In relation with the set design, all the tables and chairs were in the middle of the room. The posters were stuck at the walls, and notebooks, mobile phones, and chronometers were used. The combination of the task, tools, and social roles led to the emergent activity, linked with the desired learning outcomes. Among others, the real comprehension of TPAC and ACAD. On the other hand, personal learning environment can be defined according to Adela and Castañeda as the combination of tools, sources of information, activities and connections which each person uses regularly to learn. It is constantly influenced by learning strategies, technology, and socio-cultural context. The elements which constitute PLE are reading tools, activities, and mechanisms. These knowledge sources can be presented in varied forms: platforms, personal learning experiences, activities, mechanisms, and tools used to reflect while doing. These allow learners to transform and modify knowledge through the utilization of blogs, mind maps, critical thinking, mechanisms, activities, and tools aimed to share and reflect with the community, linked with the personal learning network. Therefore, to contextualize PLE, I am going to reflect my own PLE of resources in ICT. The reading tools and strategies I make use of are varied. The main knowledge source for me is the Aula Virtual of the University of Murcia. Teachers' explanations, the communication with my peers, as well as the documents and videos that I find in the internet. At the time of transforming knowledge, Google Drive, Word, PowerPoint, software edition programs are essential for me, but mind maps and critical reflection too. It is also the case of the blog that I have created with my peers in the group Game of Phones. Finally, for sharing with other members of the society, I use the blog, social software tools like Instagram, WhatsApp, oral presentations, discussions. Regarding the technological concepts of this course, we can state that the infographics are visual representations of information through a collection of images, charts, and icons in order to give an understandable, clear overview of a topic. Like this, infographics are powerful tools for communication in the teaching and learning process in school. Infographics must include engaging, attractive visuals to communicate the message we're trying to transmit the best way possible, in a fast and quick way. Creativity plays a fundamental role. In fact, what makes an infographic effective is its ability to organize the ideas properly and establish clear patterns to potentiate the message we are communicating. We can use infographics in primary education schools in innumerable occasions. For example, in this coronavirus situation, communication among teachers, students, and families has been possible thanks to ICT. Educators can take advantage of infographics in order to help children in the assimilation and comprehension of the rules that we must follow to avoid the expansion and infection of coronavirus. Therefore, they can use this powerful visual tool to enhance children's consciousness about this topic and many more. For instance, now that children spend a lot of time at home, they can lose track of time while playing video games. If cases like that are presented, we can create other infographics which transmit a message of autocontrol like this one. Finally, I believe that another relevant technological concept of this course is stop motion. Stop motion is a technique of animation which consists on bringing to life on a screen objects which are static. We have to move the objects little by little while filming a frame per increment. Like this, when all the frames are reproduced, subsequently, we can appreciate movement. Stop motion is a filmmaking technique which can be carried out with many objects, little figures, miniatures, photos, puppets. In fact, currently, stop motion is increasingly used in education since it provides a fantastic opportunity for children to develop their technological skills. An example in which we can appreciate the benefits of using stop motion in education is the following one. If we are studying the discovery of America in 1492 in history in a class of 4th of primary, students can make use of the stop motion technique to explain the process in a summarized way. From the economic help that Christopher Columbus obtained from the Catholic monarchs until the arrival to the continent and the colonization. To do so, children could use different photographs, paintings, or even costumes and different scenarios. They would be free to use their imagination. They could also add their voice-over. Of course, they would count with the help of the teacher and the use of tablets. In conclusion, I think that I deserve a representative mark of my perseverance along the course. Since the beginning, I tried to give my best in every single task. And although it is true that I have made several mistakes, all of them have allowed me to advance towards the development of a better version of myself. In my opinion, the most important role I have performed is the analyst, since I had the responsibility of making deep reflections about the evolution of the work of the week, but I also had to assess my peers, and evaluation plays a fundamental role in the educator's job. Nevertheless, the most challenging role for me has been the start, since I was in charge of presenting in front of the class the work that my group had elaborated during the week. It was a fantastic opportunity for developing my oral skills and overcome the shyness of speaking in public. At last, but not least, the key elements of this course that I would like to include permanently in my PLE are the utilization of blogs as tools not only for reading information, but also for reflecting through active mechanisms of synthesis and organization. They even allow us to share our knowledge with other members of the society. The elaboration of mind maps, which took place in the TPAC task and in the curator role, has a paramount importance too, since it is an activity which allows the restoration and reflection about the learned content. I would like to conserve the group work abilities too, since I have developed fundamental social skills. Besides, the theoretical and practical knowledge about technology in education, such as TPAC or DTC, and the use of infographics or robots will be quite useful for me for improving my digital skills in the future. Eventually, the illusion I felt when I lived the Un día en el cole de mi maestro experience is, in my opinion, the element base for becoming competent teachers.